recently, I was never that. Those that came before me were, those that came after me are celebrated. But me, I meant nothing. What I did meant nothing, until now. These are the words of a sexagenarian, a 67-year-old man, still young at heart, living his days with memories of serving his country and coming home to nothing. He came home to stares, silence, and sometimes too many questions. He came home to a world that went on without him, to a world that thought he did nothing. But he did something. He served my country. He served the greater world that we lived in. He served in Vietnam. I wonder how it feels to be celebrated, he said, to be honored and appreciated, to be thought of as a hero. So, I asked him, is a war any different because of the moisture of the soil? Or is it any different based on the black and white of the outcome? Doesn't everyone lose in a war, even when one side wins? At that moment, we shared silence. Neither of us could answer. But, he further explained, I've spent time since, conquering my fears, hiding from sounds, and pushing memories into a place where they do not surface often. I replied politely and respectfully when asked about my past. I speak no specifics, but give great detail. I fought in a war that many hated. But tell me, don't we all hate any war? I watch the news when a soldier falls now. Streets are lined, post offices are named, and businesses close early. I had friends who fell. I had comrades sitting beside me one minute and gone the next. Young men who didn't know what they hit nor what hit them. I cried for these Americans as I cried for those lost in the defense of freedom today. In my day, the protests were about me, what I did and who I was. No one cared if I followed an order or stood up for a greater good. They protested me while I served and when I returned to my home. Now, I see protests at the funeral of a young American having served us all. I am sad, but I stand even taller. Until recently, I was never that. Until recent years when adults began teaching the children that the military is a fine thing, a noble venture, and the reason we live in such a free and powerful country. Until recently, when I met a young man of character, a young man who shook my hand and thanked me for my service before asking a simple question. Did I take pride in serving in the military? I did, and I most certainly do now. I am honored to write these words down and share them, as he asked me to share the words of a proud American soldier. There is a movement in this country that has awakened the pride of old and young men alike, of women and children from all walks of life, of affluence and poverty, of education and the lack of. No longer do our men and women serving come home to nothing, or to scowls, or to protest. Now, they come home to salutes, to standing ovations, to silent passages through crowded businesses to the front of the line. Now, they come home to employers impressed with their maturity, their dignity, and their service. Now, there is pride in our military and in serving. There is pride in being American. I'm here with my beautiful mother and my not too bad looking father.